Good evening. IT, I'm going to ask if you could please begin the recording and the broadcast, and if somebody could also please
The
close the door.
broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
This meeting is called to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Boynton Beach City Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, and the time is now 6:01 p.m. Before we proceed, I want to remind everyone of our rules of civility and decorum. Officials must first be addressed by the chair and not interrupt a speaker. Public comments must be addressed to the commission as a whole and not to any individual on the dais or in the audience. Personal attacks, insults, displays of rudeness, and lack of respect are strictly prohibited. Disruptive behaviors from the audience are likewise strictly prohibited. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. I'm going to turn now to our city clerk. City clerk, good evening. If you could please begin the roll call.
Mayor Penserga,
Here.
Vice Mayor Turkin,
Present.
Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Hay,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation for this evening will be led by Pastor Emily Ash from First Presbyterian Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Commissioner Amy Kelly. Let's all stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome.
All-loving God, we come together today as a community of leaders and caring citizens. Inspire us with wisdom and compassion for this city and for its citizens. Lead us to see the needs for the people of Boynton Beach. We pray that our concerns be concerns for others to live in safety and to care for all who seek justice that is fair and impartial for all, especially those with the least among us. We are your people, people of many faiths. We come to you today for this commissioners' meeting, that we may hear and that we may be heard. And may we strive to walk in harmony with your will. In our Lord's name, we come to you tonight. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Ash, and thank you, Commissioner Kelly. We are now going to turn to agenda approval, additions, deletions, and corrections to the agenda. My only request for this evening is to move up item, let me double check the number, it is 10A. If we could have 10A to right after public audience. All right, we have consensus. I see head nods from my colleagues. All right, let's begin on my left. Commissioner Kelly, do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to ask staff, I have some concerns. We all know about the UAW strike that's going on, and I have some concerns. I want to make sure that fleet and fleet management is on top of production and parts and vehicles, so that we can stay on top of that. So maybe the next meeting, if staff can just provide us with an update on how we're being proactive with regard to that auto strike, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be great.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yep. Anything else, Commissioner Kelly?
No, that's it. Thank you
All right,
so
thank
much.
you, Commissioner Hay.
No additions for me.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor Turkin.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cruz.
Nothing for this current meeting, but I am missing the two items that I added to future agenda from last meeting.
Could you state what those two items are so we can?
One of it was regarding infrastructure. I asked for, it's been a couple weeks, but it was regarding the getting like a,
For utilities.
it was about the utilities, yeah. It was two items. I'll get back to you. There were two items that I mentioned them twice during the meeting. And I will let you know which ones they were, but it was two items regarding utilities, infrastructure, and
We'll
two
get
of those
it.
items, yeah.
Absolutely. Inventory list. Yeah, apologize.
Inventory list.
Yep.
There you go. Thank you. You remember. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing nothing else, so we have two items that we have consensus on. We're going to move up 10A to right after public audience. And then we're also going to hear from staff on an update regarding fleet and fleet operations and how we're being proactive as it relates to the strike. Deputy City Manager, was that clear direction?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. With that, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So move.
Second.
The motion I heard came from Vice Mayor Turkin. I heard a second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of amending the agenda, say aye. 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 All those who oppose, say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We are now going to turn to informational items by members of the City Commission. Let's begin on my right with Commissioner Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. I had two residents call me regarding item 5A, the advisory board reappointments. One of it is Margaret Roberts. She is a District 2 resident who's interested to be on the Arts Board, and then Cortland McGuire, who is a District 3 resident who's interested in being on the CRA Advisory Board. That is it for me.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yes, also 5A, I received emails from all of the applicants outside of, emails or phone calls from all of the applicants outside of Margaret Roberts for the Art Advisory Board. And then I did speak with Luciano Castillo and Alexandria Lepresto and Cortland McGuire for the CRA Board. And then outside of that, for 5A, that is it. And then I did speak to members of the BDB concerning 11A and, you know, a good handful of residents concerning 11A as well.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Hay.
Yeah, I too received emails about on 5A concerning the appointments. I also like to say that at my church, St. John Missionary Baptist Church, we celebrated our 115th anniversary, and I want to thank the mayor for his participation and positive comments on that Sunday. Made us all proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Still talking about you positively.
That's good. That's a good sign.
So I just want to thank him for coming. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
It was a great event, Commissioner. I appreciate you for inviting me. And the whole time, I had no idea that a very famous person was sitting right next to me. Am I allowed to say who it is? Probably not.
You can say that. Go ahead.
Coco was sitting right next to me, or right
Coco
behind me.
Gao.
Yeah, and
I believe she is playing as we speak in China.
we wish her the best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I also received a couple of emails and calls and a call from Cortland McGuire, although I didn't have a chance to talk to him. I did receive a call from him and some emails with regard to the appointments, 5A. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, we're going to move on to the next section of the agenda, which is announcements, community and special events and presentations. The first one is a certificate of achievement to some very deserving individuals. I will present a certificate of achievement to, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so you're going to correct me later, Ange Lucie Colo Bienami and Veronica Carballo, for successfully earning a high school diploma from Smart Horizons through the library's Career Online High School program. So the very first one is to Ange Lucie Colo Bien-Ami. Let me step down, and afterwards I'll present it to Veronica Carballo. And afterwards, I would love, if you would like to say a few words, we'd love to hear from you. Would you like to say a few words?
I would like to say thank you to everybody who give me the opportunity to have that certificate. I'm sure that's gonna change my life. And thank you to my family and my English teacher, Miss Siana, who support me today. Thank you.
Now to Veronica Carballo. Hi, Veronica. Congratulations so much. We're so happy. Thank you. Thank you. This is for you. Tell us about yourself and what this meant for you.
I also want to take this time to thank the city of Boynton for giving me the opportunity. This really means a big deal to me. They always say the third is the charm, right? It took me 3 times and I finally got it. I want to thank my family also for all the support and for dealing with, oh my goodness, these long sleepless nights. And thank you, everybody.
Okay. I'd like to call up Ms. Taylor from our library. If you could just say a few words about what this program is about. We have new people in the room and new people online. Tell us about what this is and how it's changing people's lives.
Thank you. Jeannie Taylor, Library Director. So this Career Online High School program is helping adults in our community who don't yet have a high school diploma. And we now have graduated 20 people in our city who now have high school diplomas. Yeah. It's a great program. I'm just really proud of the work that they do and how much effort they put into it. They have to spend about 10 hours a week in order to accomplish one class in every 2 weeks, and they have up to 18 months to finish, but if they really want to put in more time and more effort, they can finish much sooner. So anybody who lives in the city, the main requirement is that you have a library card. So come get a library card and then come talk to me about getting your high school diploma if you need it. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on to a series of announcements. The first one is of our Fall Festival. The annual Fall Festival will be held on Saturday, October 14th, from 3 to 6 p.m. at Centennial Park, located at 120 East Ocean Avenue in downtown Boynton Beach. That's right outside of City Hall. This year's event includes a kids zone, pumpkin decorating contest, food trucks, music, petting zoo, and more. Community Greening will be on site hosting a free tree giveaway for attendees while supplies last. That's always very popular. For more information, contact the Recs and Park Department. The next announcement is the Senior Health Fair. The annual Senior Health Fair will be held on Tuesday, October 17th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Hazel Hester Jr. Community Center, located at 1901 North Seacrest Boulevard. This event is free to the public, providing health resources and services from healthcare providers for seniors and caregivers, along with free health screenings, fitness demonstration, and door prizes. For more information, contact the Recreation and Parks Department. The final announcement is at the City of Boynton Beach during our first Friday at 5 concert. That is this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. This event is free and open to the public and will take place on Friday, October 6, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centennial Park Amphitheater. In a tribute to Hispanic Heritage Month, the city is excited to welcome, I'm going to need some assistance in pronunciation, Jesus Manuel Isu Orquesta. Is that correct? No? I did my best.
Orquesta, pretty much. yes,
Orquesta,
you did good.
there we go. At this month's first Friday at 5 concert, this event will serve as a platform to honor the heritage and achievements of Hispanics and Latinos in the United States. This special edition concert will feature salsa lessons by Del Rey Ballroom, a local vendor market, and the opportunity to learn more about the rich Hispanic culture. I am there not just for the music, but I'm interested in maybe a little salsa dancing. If you're interested in that as well, please come and join us.
I'll join you.
Mayor, can I say something about
Yeah,
that real quick?
absolutely, Commissioner Cruz.
I just want to give a shout out to Gabby and her team. You guys have done a phenomenal job working tirelessly, even on the weekends. So I just want to thank you so much for everything you've done, not only for this event, but every event. And then Chelsea also, you've done a really phenomenal job, within your department as well. So I just want to thank not only the two of you, I know there are people that work under you as well. I just want to thank the entire team for everything you've done. I think this event is going to be a great event. And the purpose isn't to separate or see how we're different, but rather to unite and to see what makes us, what do we have in common? We all love food, we all love music, we all love to have a good time. And I think it's a great opportunity to showcase our local businesses and to try different food. It's just really excited for it. Wanted to put that out there and just thank staff for all the work they've been putting in.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Any other final comments from any of my colleagues? With that, we are going to turn to public audience. And my request here is, since we have moved up item 10A to right after public audience, if you would include any public comments for 10A, you might as well include that then. We will begin with those in the chambers, after which we'll go to those online. We will take digital hands raised online up until the very last person has spoken in the chambers. And as always, state your name for the record, and let me set the timer to 3 minutes. Begin when you're ready. Good evening.
Good evening, Mark Carroll, George, Boynton Beach. Mayor, I want to first and foremost thank you for participating in the St. John Missionary Baptist Church anniversary. I don't know if you made it to the cookout or not, but it was a great day, and I want to thank you for participating. Secondly, I want to give a shout out to a great commissioner up there, and that is my dear friend Woodrow Hay. He cares about this city so much. He has given so many years to this city, and I'm going to be blunt. This is not meant to be offensive, but y'all could learn a thing or two from him. He's been there, done that, got the T-shirt and the hat to prove it. And I just want to thank him personally for taking time and showing the respect to all the citizens. And you don't get to hear it that often, but thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, state your name for the record. Begin when you're ready.
Mike McCrae, 806 Northwest 4th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. I want to speak tonight about government for the people and by the people. I'm going to start off with civility. I was at the first reading of the budget here in our chambers. I got a chance to witness such non-professionalism by some of the elected officials that was sitting up there that night. They did not get their way about the budget when they did not get their raise. They got up and walked out. That's called turning your back on your city. Then, after they walked out, sir, they don't let me speak, so please don't speak to me. I'm going by decorum. So they walked out. They wasn't even here when we got to the point where they was discussing the fire assessment. That was a part of the budget. Then one of the employees came in, stood and talked to another one of the elected officials with their back turned to the audience. That was a sign of disrespect. When I took psych nursing, they told us to be watching out for some things. That night I witnessed some things that some of you, if you wasn't on medication, I'm not trying to be funny, you should have been on medication. If you did not take medication, you should have. I want to serve notice to you all. When citizens come up and speak to you all, we get 3 minutes, whether you like what we say or not. Give us our due, I'm just saying. You don't have to say anything to us. I said where you said. I had people stand before me, talk about me, say things about my family, etc. I sat there and I smiled. I only had 3 minutes to look at it. Please, if you are going to represent this city, start wearing chips on your shoulders. Let it go. Don't take this personally and don't take it home with you. This is only a job. Now, if the decorum, I'm going to say if you have a decorum for the citizens that you all read to us every time we come to a meeting, I'm going to be honest, I think you all need to have a decorum that you all need to read to yourselves before you come up here to face us. Another thing, we all have to walk through a metal detector coming in here. Some of you do not go through metal detectors. I don't care and I don't know. But the way y'all acted that night, I was afraid of my life sitting up in here. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Thank you.
All right, next speaker. State your name for the record and begin when you're ready.
How y'all doing? My name is James Young. I'm coming here today because I'm a citizen of Boynton. Been here all my life. Try to find a job, trying to transition into the work world. I have no support from nobody in the city council, nobody, the mayor, the vice mayor. No one's just trying to help me like feed my family and my kids. What's wrong with that? Why is it like that? Can I get some help some kind of way? I can pick up paper, whatever. You know, I don't have a lot of credentials because I couldn't read and write coming up in school. I was in the streets. I was born in the streets. But I'm transitioning, trying to get my kids out of that rim. I don't want them to go the route that I had to take. And I want somebody to help me if it's possible. Why is that I come here and I can't get nothing done? Everybody knows me. I have a good personality. I'm a good person. I'm not a bad person. You know what I'm saying? I just was caught up into making money the fast way. I had a lot of different, you know what I'm saying, fights. My kids are going through a lot of different fights, struggle with the churches and, you know, all these different things, putting, you know, different spirits on you and all this type of stuff, man. Like, I'm not of that type of person. I just want some help, if it's possible, where I can feed my family, put food on the table. I don't think I'm wrong for that. We all are men, women, everyone has kids in here. Like, come on, man. What's up, man? Could y'all help me, please? Somebody? Give me a job? Is it possible, please? That's it, man. That's all I have to say, man. Thank you. Please, man. Somebody.
Thank you. All right, next public comment speaker. All right, we have two podiums. We can go back and forth. Go ahead, sir. State your name.
My
for
name
the
is
record.
Dennis Caraballo. I live in 241 North Palm Drive, 7900 Glades Road. It's called Caulfield and Wheeler.
No, you
They're
need to,
always
excuse me,
hiring.
sir. You
Please
need to
address
just
us.
address the commission.
Yes,
The microphone is on. We can't hear you.
I'm talking to the gentleman. He asked
Then-
for a
then you can
job.
talk-
My company is hiring.
You can
and
talk
I'm
to him
offering-
outside of the meeting, sir. Sir, over here. You can talk to him outside the meeting. This is just for comments to the commission.
I understand that. The commission, he asked the commission for help. I'm a Boynton Beach citizen. I've been living here for 30 years on the same corner. He is a citizen too. So I choose to help my citizens the same way he asks y'all for help. So I'm kind of backing y'all up, offering him a job at my company. If that is an issue, sir?
Sir.
You direct your comments to the commission. If you'd like to talk to the gentleman outside of that, you can.
Mr. Tolsis, let me step in. Sir, let me pause the time. There's no problem with what you're saying. We appreciate what you're doing. All I'm asking is that you talk to us. They can hear you because of the mic. But we
Okay.
appreciate what you're saying.
No problem.
Keep
Well,
going,
if
sir.
the man needs a job, I can help him out. As a citizen of Boynton Beach, so the commission knows.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right, next speaker.
Excuse me, is this regular public audience or is this on 10A?
For both, sir. State your
Both?
name for the record.
Ernest McNolly? So I thought you said 10A. Is this about the lawyer, the letter for the lawyer?
I'm allowing public comment for that item as well.
I'm asking a simple, is this the public audience 3 minutes where you can talk about anything you want? Or is it directed to the 10A, which you said, which...
We have said yes. Both, yes.
Since when is that a practice? And who's running the meeting? This lawyer who keeps butting in on everybody?
Sir, make your comments.
Everything's funny, right? So, I live at 710 Northeast 7th Street, Boynton Beach, Harbor Hall Inlet Club 1. And I'm not going to get into too much about what's going on there, what the city is allowing, police, fire, commission, the homeowners association. It's frightening what's going on. Other than that, this matter with the attorney, the way they're being selected for the city, I find it highly objectionable when, in fact, Mr. Cheroff and Mr. Michael whatever are under so many complaints and investigations.
Sir, do not address anyone by name. This is not your attack hour. You have been warned this many times. You do it again, your time is expired. Your time is now expired. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak on public audience?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, my esteemed colleagues, members of the public. My name is Mario Guzman. Just quick announcement, let everybody know that Monday, October 16th, that week until Friday, October 20th, the Solid Waste Division will have a vegetation amnesty week. So essentially, as you put out vegetation out there, we have a limit of over 3 cubic yards you get charged. We're waiving all fees for that week. And that's just as we finalize hurricane season. I don't like saying the H word too much, but we're getting through it. Yeah. But for that week, we're holding Vegetation Amnesty Week, so any limit, we'll be picking it up. And I got with our marketing team, so we'll be posting on the website, let everyone know. This is the second time we're doing it. The first time was a hit. We figured we might as well pick it up proactively instead of, heaven forbid, a storm comes and it's on the floor. So that's that.
All right, thank you.
Mario, that means that height also will not be held against them, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
1 week, so.
Thank you.
All right, next speaker.
Hello, my name is Veronica Carbello. I'm on the corner of North Palm Drive and Ocean Avenue, and we've been having problems with the water going down the sewage. They came and they put rocks as a filter, and I really feel that that's not doing anything. Each on the 4 corners there is a drainage, and the water just happens to sit there. With the water sitting, it's actually starting to break the road. So I really think that should be something that needs to get fixed. So.
Thank you for letting us know. And one of our staff members will connect with you to have that addressed immediately, all right? Seeing no one else in the chambers approaching the podium, we're now gonna go online. Mani, can I ask, is there anybody with their digital hands raised?
Mr. Mayor, we have no hand.
All right, I heard no hands were raised. With that, public audience is now closed. We're gonna move on to item 10A. Item 10A reads as follows. It is proposed resolution number R23-140, approval of in-house city attorney employment letter contract. And I'm gonna turn now to our HR director, as well as to the selected applicant, Ms. Shauna Lamb.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. Tennille DeCassi, Director of Human Resources and Risk Management. As you are aware,
Ms. DeCosti, I'm going to ask you to pause one moment. For those of you that are having conversations, could you move outside, just right outside the doors, so we can proceed with business? Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Nikosi, please continue.
Thank you, Mayor. As you're aware, the Mayor and Commission has directed me to negotiate the terms of appointment with Ms. Shauna Lamb. We had discussions about her contract. I also sent it to each of you, met with each of you, and also circle back to our candidate that you have chosen. So the final thing to do is approve and authorize the mayor to execute her contract with an effective date of October 2023.
All right, thank you so much. Let me turn to my colleagues if they have any questions or comments, and then we'll proceed to a motion. I'm going to turn to my left, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any questions right now.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hay.
No question at this point.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
I don't have any questions at this point in time. Tennille, thanks for clearing up my concerns from yesterday. I see that it's been amended. Yeah, so I won't bring it up here on the dais. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Cruz. Questions, comments?
I do have a question on 13.1, if we can turn to that area. So, one of the reasons why, I first proposed to have an in-house attorney and, other colleagues did as well. But one of the reasons why I wanted to have that is because I want our city attorney to be here and to fully dedicate themselves to the city of Boynton Beach. I would not want our city attorney, and that's something that I discussed with all of the candidates during the interviews, to have any side consulting jobs or any outside business of any shape or form. I would like to, request to my colleagues if we could remove item 13 completely, or if we could just change instead of, we could have outside activities, but instead of saying that you could have outside activities, I would like the board to consider that, if we want to have our city attorney be completely focused on the city of Boynton Beach, we would not want them to have outside consulting or business opportunities or teaching. We don't really want you to have any other jobs besides, really just being our city attorney. I kind of want to hear what my colleagues have to say about that, but this is something very important to me, and this is something that I discussed with every single candidate who interviewed with me, and that was kind of thought that it was agreed upon. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Commissioner Cruz. Let's go around the dais for response, and then I'll give you an opportunity as well to respond. Vice Mayor, any response or questions?
So in 13.1, so it says with prior city commission approval. Does that mean, is that approval this agreement, or is that approval based on, hey, I want to go consult and teach at this conference, and that would need, a majority?
Let's address that question to Mr. David Tolsis.
David Tolsis, interim city attorney. I wasn't part of the negotiations, so excuse me if I overspeak, but it
feel
would.
free to jump in as well, Tennille.
I mean, it'd be some type of commission approval.
Right.
Whether she has to formally come to the meeting and ask for that, or if it's just a matter of sending an email and asking if anybody objects to that. But she would have to have some type of approval.
This is a future approval, right? So this tonight is not the approval,
Right.
but
Correct.
Right.
if down the road she decides to do a teaching on the side type of situation.
I mean, because it's not unusual to go to a conference and make a presentation, that kind of thing. Maybe teach some, a class or two, maybe at a local college or something like that. But I don't know what she, I'm sure Ms. Lamb can speak for herself, so.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I would like to hear from everyone
Okay, I'm
first,
sorry.
and then we'll come back to you. Thank you, Mr. Tolsis. Vice Mayor, I just want to make sure your answer was questioned.
Yeah, no, that
Your
did.
question
And-
was answered.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah, I got you. Thanks, David, for the clarification. So I definitely agree and admire and appreciate Commissioner Cruz's concerns. I share those same concerns. I would be okay with approving 13.1 with adding language to after 5 p.m. in there, because at that point, that's after working hours. And so outside of that, I don't care. But I think that if we're at City Hall, there's a lot of work. And for me, this is a dice roll, this decision. And it's not that I don't trust you. It's just that I need to verify that this contract is going to have accountability for whoever is in, this position, because we're making a drastic move going from a firm to a single house attorney. And so I don't want to be too ambitious with allowing too much autonomy. And I think it's important that the city should be the primary focus first and foremost. Outside 5 o'clock, I don't mind. I don't care. I want to make sure that we continue to be a destination for employment. And, it's hard to juggle that while making sure that the residents are getting their money's worth, and that we as a body, have the ability and connection with you, almost any day of the week. So that's where I stand on that. I don't know necessarily about removing it, but I think there's some type of middle ground that we can work with.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. Any thoughts, Commissioner Hay?
Yes, I do. Was this part of a condition of approval prior to tonight's discussion? Is this the first time this is coming up?
No, you were sent, well, I'm sorry, the mayor and vice mayor and commission was sent the employment letter, but tonight it's for the approval. So during the agenda review, we discussed it. It was forwarded to you when we made one more correction based on vice mayor's agenda review. And now we're coming to you for approval and authorize the mayor to execute the contract effective October 23rd.
Which I have no objection to him doing just that, but, if I go to a new job, and as long as I'm performing and producing what has been asked of me, then what I do off hours is my own business. You have no right to tell me that I cannot hold a second job. That's the way I see it. Now, if it comes to a conflict down the road, then we have the right to readdress that. But as long as it's not a conflict, but her responsibility is here, and she's doing the job and doing the task that we have asked, and it's not a conflict, what's the problem? So I would like for it to stay the way it is, and authorize the mayor to sign.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Kelly for any questions or comments.
Thank you,
Then
Mayor.
we'll turn to Ms. Lamb.
Thank you. And I guess, Ms. Lamb, when you speak, maybe, and well, Tennille, maybe you can answer this question. Is this something that was asked for, or is this something that was in like the blanket agreement that
Correct.
all city attorneys?
Not all of city
Right,
attorneys, but other, like the city manager, other employment letters as well.
Right. I mean, the part that I like about it is the teaching opportunities. I think that we're all looking for ways that we can learn from other cities. We do it when we go to Florida League of Cities, and we do it when we go to, elected colleges, and there's attorneys that are there from other cities who speak and teach and advise us. And so I think there's a lot of benefit that can be from that. And I agree with Vice Mayor, maybe there is a middle line where maybe there can be some language. And I know you're committed to being here, so I don't think that you're going to take this 13-1 and run with it and never be in the office and be out consulting and teaching and doing all those things, because I know in our conversations, you're very committed to the city and being a part of it. And so I think maybe it just needs to be tightened up a little bit. But maybe, Shauna, you can also, when you speak, what are some, in maybe your past experience, what are some things that you've done? Because I don't want to limit you from also being able to do things on your own time, or you take a PTO day and want to do a teaching opportunity. Or, my attorney does teaching opportunities. He'll do an hour CLE seminar on jury selection or whatever. So, these things happen, and it's also part of your learning too. So I don't want to limit that from happening. So maybe you can just briefly, explain maybe how that plays in to your role as a city attorney, and because I don't want to limit you from being able to thrive at this job, and if this is something that that will that can benefit you, then I would like to hear that as well.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight, Shauna Lamb. No, as a city employee and as a person who will be earning public dollars and a public servant, when I am at the city, I am doing city work, period, end of story. That extends not only to while I'm physically here, but it also extends to equipment or anything that is city property will not be used for anything personal. And I'll tell you, the only thing I have randomly done is I think I represented my stepson got a traffic ticket. But of course, I take the time off while I go to court for that, right? That's not something, I make sure it doesn't conflict, I make sure it's not an issue. But with regard to this, my only concern, Vice Mayor, with being after 5, for example, there is a CLE called the FMAA. And if a unique or novel issue comes up at the city, very often, they will ask, how did you handle that? What did you learn from that? And so those sort of speaking things, and what they offer speakers is you don't have to pay for the course, right? You still get your CLE credits. So there is a benefit to the city by doing that. And generally, if there's a PowerPoint that needs to go with that, I could certainly do that after hours and not do that on city time if that is a concern. But as far as, I have no interest in consulting. Personally, I don't think I would have the time. But if there is an occasional course or something that I would have be asked or requested to teach at, and it didn't conflict with this, or not even teach, but speak for CLE credits, that's certainly something I would do. But, I'm very sensitive to using public funds for personal business or outside work. And that's not something I would do.
Thank you, Ms. Lamb. Commissioner Cruz, you want to respond?
Just to confirm, CLE would be like continuing education, right? Continuing law education.
Exactly.
That's what it stands for. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. The reason why I brought that up was not in any way to try to remove you from doing stuff, but that it was part of the interview process for me. And it was something that was imperative, very important to me. I asked every single applicant, is the city of Boynton Beach going to be your sole employer and your only form of income? And, the answer was yes. So that's kind of something that was expected from me. And I understand for continuing education purposes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I don't like the word consulting because I don't want someone else to pay you for legal work. I really don't want someone else to pay you for legal work when you're our city attorney. I really would prefer that you get paid from any other entity. And that we understand that, the city attorney role, it's not just a 9-to-5 job, but it's something where, the same way as a lot of senior level staff, we would be able to communicate with you after 6 o'clock and even on Saturdays and that sort of thing. So not necessarily with regard to what time of day it is, but knowing that this role is pretty much, obviously not 24/7, but it would be something where we can reach out to you and have phone calls after hours, as we all, have daytime jobs for the most part. So that's what I want. I would prefer that you don't take any outside consulting jobs where you're being paid for it. Nothing wrong with like representing your family on things like, that's not what I'm referring to. I just don't want there to be any conflict where you may be representing somebody in a consulting, capacity, and then maybe those people come and do business with the city. I know that would be included in the conflict of interest, but who's really checking that? Like, who really has the time to go through every single contract? We have like hundreds, if not thousands of contracts, right? So who regulates that is my question. So that's the reason why I brought up the concern. Nothing to do with you. I'm sure, you're very ethical yourself, but wanted to bring that up because I really want to make sure that you're not taking any outside jobs for consulting purposes, not specifically talking about continuing education. That's completely fine. But something where it would be like a consistent thing where you would be, let's say, teaching every Thursday night. Like, that's another job, in my opinion. So,
Mayor, if I can.
Yes, and keep in mind, I still haven't spoken yet.
Sorry.
Would you like to speak first?
That's fine. Go ahead,
Okay.
Tennille.
So Shauna and I were just discussing while Cruz was talking, we can remove the outside consulting language, this consulting word, and other business
That was actually
opportunities.
going to be my suggestion.
Great minds think alike.
And then also the point with regarding the business opportunities, I think if we remove that and we limit it to, we call it teaching, because that would cover CLE.
Right.
And then if it's okay with Vice Mayor removing the after 5 PM, because most of the CLEs are during the day, I think that's fair, and I hope that would address your concerns.
All right?
Yes, thank you.
So I'm comfortable with the amendments that have been suggested. Again, they are to to strike out outside consulting.
Yes.
And to also strike out other business opportunities.
Right.
And just a few comments for myself, being asked to teach a seminar or anything like that is a point of pride. If they're asking you to do that, that's because you're doing a great job. And so it sounds like here we all support that. There were language in this provision that did provide some security. For example, with prior city commission approval.
Right.
And there is the understanding in the very last sentence that these arrangements must neither constitute interference with nor a conflict of interest with her responsibilities under this agreement. Now, with that being said, I completely understand the point made by Commissioner Cruz. Having outside employment, although not necessarily true, is approaching a potential conflict when there is another financial source. So, but you've already consented to the amendment, so we'll leave it there. Okay, is there any final comments from my colleagues? All right.
Thank you all for your consideration. I would like to make a motion to approve with the amendments.
Second.
And council, do we need to define those amendments once again, or is it very clear?
That's fine. Did you want me to read the title for the record of
Yes,
the
the
resolution?
resolution, we do need that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right, so resolution number R23-140, a resolution of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, appointing Shauna G. Lamb as City Attorney of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, and authorizing and directing the mayor to sign the employment agreement on behalf of the city with Shauna G. Lamb and providing an effective date.
Okay, so go ahead, Commissioner Cruz, if you could make your motion with the amendments.
Go back to it, okay. I would like to make a motion to approve item
10A.
10A, which is Resolution R23-140, amending line 13-1, and with
To
the
remove any
amendments
reference to consulting or other business
in other business
opportunities.
jobs.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Cruz. There is a second from Commissioner Kelly. I'm going to request, given the nature of this item, that we do a roll call vote. City Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Hay,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Turkin,
Yes.
Mayor Penserga.
Yes.
In a roll call vote, the motion passed unanimously.
Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Ms. Lamb.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow,
And
this is a
welcome.
big deal.
Welcome.
This is a big deal today. Okay.
And I'll just say from my perspective and my office perspective that we will do everything possible to ensure that the transition is smooth and seamless.
Thank you, David.
We thank you. We're now going to move on to administrative. Item 5A, Advisory Board Annual Reappointments and Appointments. This was previously tabled from April 4th, 2023. The first request is a motion to remove from the table.
So moved.
Second.
The motion came from Commissioner Kelly. The second came from Vice Mayor Turkin. All those in favor of removing this item from the table, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it, motion passes. Let's open this for discussion. Let me pull up the list. What did I do with the list? Here we go. So I'm going to go down through the various advisory boards and committees, and I will indicate what positions are open, who are the nominating commissioners, and what I'd like to do is, instead of making a motion for every single person, let's make our nominations for that advisory board, and let's make a motion to approve such item. Okay? Were there any questions, Commissioner Cruz?
Wait, so we're not gonna go by one by one?
We're going to go board by board,
Okay.
advisory board, but I'm just saying instead of making a motion for every single position, let's select our individuals, and then let's make a motion for that particular board.
Okay.
Okay? So for example, the very first one on the list is the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. I will be making a nomination followed by Vice Mayor Turkin. My nomination is for an advocate for low-income persons. I nominate Tara Ockler. I'm going to turn now to Vice Mayor. Do you have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Amanda Radigan.
Okay. Is she here?
She's right there.
All right. That concludes this advisory board. So may I have a motion to approve those appointments?
So moved.
Second.
All right. We have a motion. The second motion came from Commissioner Cruz. Second came from Vice Mayor. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
Mayor, if
Yes.
could I make a comment before the next
Yeah,
item?
Sure, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Okay,
And I'll come
so
to you next.
Ms. Margaret Roberts is applying to the Art Advisory Board. She is a resident of District 2. I've known her for many years from church. She does a lot of arts and crafts and a lot of artistic stuff in her church. Unfortunately, I do not have any advisory board appointments, or I would be happy to appoint her. She was trying to log in online, but she wasn't able to log in on time to make public comment to say she was interested. So just wanted to say that on her behalf. That's Margaret Roberts. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hay, were you about to say something?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so for the Art Advisory Board, there are 4 positions, 2 regular positions and 2 alternate. The regular position nominations are coming from Vice Mayor and followed by Commissioner Hay. Vice Mayor, do you have a nomination?
Yeah, so I'd like to nominate Susan Froelich to the regular member term. And I will advocate also for Deborah Tarka. She's, it's a very hard decision. Breon Moses was, very good resume as well. And so, I'm going to go with Susan Froelich, but I would recommend those 2 as well.
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn now to Commissioner Hay. You have a nomination as well.
No, I would want to recommend Margaret Roberts.
Okay, and I'm going to turn now to Commissioner Kelly.
I'm going to nominate Ace Tilton Radcliffe to the alternate position, please.
Okay. And as for myself, I will nominate Moses. All right, with that, may I have a motion to approve those nominations for the Art Advisory Board?
So moved.
The
Second.
motion came from Commissioner Hay, the second came from Commissioner Kelly. All those in favor of the motion to appoint those individuals say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those who oppose say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We're now moving on to the Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals. There's no applicants, so we're going to move on. Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Board. There are 5 regular positions available, and we have many applicants. The first one is my nomination. I'm going to nominate Eric Anderson. Now I'm going to turn to Vice Mayor.
I'll nominate Alexandria Lopresto.
Lopresto. Okay, now it is Commissioner Cruz.
I'll nominate Corlin McGuire.
I'm going to turn now to Commissioner Hay, then Commissioner Kelly for your nominations.
I would nominate Chevette Gatson.
All right. And Commissioner Kelly.
I am going to nominate Naomi Cobb for her second term.
All right, we have our nominations. May I have a motion to approve the nominated individuals? We have a motion from Commissioner Cruz, a second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. All those who oppose say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to all of the individuals. We're moving on to Education and Youth Advisory Board. We have several applicants for many positions. The first one is from me. I would like to nominate, yes, the first one is me. I'd like to nominate Valerie Valcourt. I'm going to turn now to Vice Mayor.
It happens.
I'll go with Gloria.
Oh, you took mine.
That was my nomination for my other one.
Well, Mayor, she's a student applicant.
Oh, that's correct.
Does that,
So what
So
Teresa
students have their
Casey
own-
McGlendon, is she a student or is she a regular member, I'm assuming? Because student's not next to that?
It's labeled
It's not labeled.
Oh, that means it's regular.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll go with Teresa.
Wait, I thought you nominated Gloria.
She's a student, so there's
This is for the regular
the
position.
regular members and then students.
Going
so
down the list.
You still got yours, I guess.
But then, Turkin, you have your
Oh,
student
okay.
Yeah,
nomination
there's
later.
Okay.
many positions, guys, many positions. Commissioner Cruz, you are next. This is for a regular position, not a student.
I will defer to the next person if I can.
The next person to make your, okay, all right.
Next one.
The next one is Commissioner Hay.
I would nominate Teresa Casey Clendon.
It's already been nominated by Vice Mayor. So Valerie
That's-
Valcourt and Teresa Casey McClendon have been nominated for regular positions.
How about, oh, this is regular, isn't it?
Yeah, so that only leaves one applicant under the non-student category. That would be Francois Calix
I go
Duville.
with Francois.
Okay. And Commissioner Kelly, you have a regular appointment as well. However, there's no more applicants
No more.
for that category. And Commissioner Cruz, you deferred yours. So now we're going to move on to the next portion, which is for students. For me, I will nominate Ms. Nguyen, Gloria Nguyen. I'm going to turn now to Vice Mayor. Do you want to appoint a student?
Oh, Dallas Veloso? Veloso?
Veloso. All right, and that is it. There are no more applicants.
So moved?
We have a motion from Commissioner Cruz, a second from Commissioner Hay for the nominations. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We're moving on now to Historic Resources Preservation Board. It is quasi-judicial. The first nomination is for a regular position coming from myself. I nominate Bradley Jackson. I'm going to turn now to Vice Mayor
Nominate Thomas Remicchio.
Remicchio. Okay, we have another regular position that goes to Commissioner Cruz,
I'll nominate Roy Smith.
Roy Smith. All right, that is it for the applicants. May I have a motion to approve the nominations?
So move.
The motion came from Vice Mayor, and I heard is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of the motion to appoint these individuals, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We're moving on to the Library Board. The first one, these are all regular positions. The first one will go to Commissioner Cruz.
I'll go ahead and nominate Marcia Levine.
Marcia Levine. Okay. Commissioner Hay, you have an appointment.
Lindsay Crowton.
Okay. And Commissioner Kelly.
Ellen Jones.
And then myself, I will nominate Joelle Barsky. And that concludes all of the applicants.
Motion to approve?
I heard
Second.
a motion from Commissioner Kelly. I heard a second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations. We're moving on to Recreation and Parks Board. The first regular position goes to Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to nominate Sarah Beveridge.
All right, thank you. For myself, I will nominate Julie Hines.
Nice. Took mine again.
Vice Mayor?
Last but certainly not least, Belinda Lasky.
Belinda Lasky. And that concludes all of the applicants. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion came from Vice Mayor. The second came from Commissioner Kelly. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. To the Senior Advisory Board, I see no applicants for the Senior Advisory Board. Okay? Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I just got a quick question on that. Did those, because I know we had there's a good bit of residents on that board. Did those terms expire? Are those just the openings and there's no applicants? Okay. So the existing
I'm
members are.
sorry, could you say that? I didn't hear the response.
There are 3 vacancies right now for the Senior Advisory Board, and there were no applicants for that board.
Okay, but the current members are still sitting on that board.
Yeah, there are 4 current full-time members and then 2 alternates.
Okay, thanks, Maylee.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That concludes this administrative item. Congratulations. That was more expedient than I expected. We're going to move on to consent agenda. Are there any items that my colleagues would like to pull under consent agenda? All right, I'm not hearing any request.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion came from Commissioner Cruz. A second came from Vice Mayor Turkin to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We're now moving on to consent bids and purchases over $100,000. Are there any items that my colleagues would like to pull?
Yes,
Commissioner Hay, which
I'd
item?
like to pull item 7D as in Delta.
Okay, this is proposed resolution R23-139, Isel Hasser Park improvements.
Correct.
I'm going to ask Mario Guzman to come up to the podium, and while he approaches, may I have a motion to approve the remainder of consent bids and purchases?
So moved.
So move.
Commissioner Hay made the motion. I heard a second from
Second.
Vice Mayor. All those in favor of approving the remainder of consent bids and purchases say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. We're going to turn now to item 7D. Mario, if you could introduce the item.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, my esteemed colleagues, members of the public. Mario Guzman again, Director of Public Works, and I have Mr. Carl Fermenti, who's the Project Manager 3. We have a quick presentation on this, yep.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to speak.
Good evening. Could you pull the microphone a little bit closer, sir?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Carl Fermenti. I am.
You may want to use the other one if it's easier for you.
No, it's all right. There we go. I'm the project manager for this project, Essel Hesser. So I got a little update for you this evening. So we'll go through these slides.
So quick on the agenda, while we have the opportunity, just a quick project update where we're at as it relates to field drainage, parking lot drainage, field turf logos, landscaping, and estimated completion. We also want to talk about what's happening, work in progress, and then lastly, the request for this last item, what we're asking for this item. So, good.
Okay, a project update. So we started this project back in March. So basically, with some of the changes on the project and long lead items, the new anticipated delivery date for this project is February 24. Some of the recent work that we've completed the turf work, all the irrigation, all the landscaping, the parking areas. So primarily what we're working on now are the utilities, the site construction relating to the foundations for the grandstands and bleachers, and the shade structures. The field drainage was the first component of the project. So basically the slide on your right, my left, is the field drainage, which is a very interesting, unique system. There's a shot of that, and the other shot is just a drain in the parking area. Okay, so the next step of that was the laser grading of the field. So basically there's gap graded aggregates, and they grade that, and then they basically roll this turf out like a carpet. So those joints are stitched and glued, and it's a very interesting process. That's the final field. Those are once all the logos are inlaid and glued in. So we're really happy with the way that logo came out. It looks absolutely beautiful. And also the goalposts have now been installed, and also the field lighting, but the lighting is not yet connected due to the electrical components that we're waiting on. Here's a little shot of the landscaping. Also came out very nice. Great backdrop for this beautiful park. And this is the work that we currently have in process. So currently we are working on the homestead bleachers and grandstand structure, and additionally installing the drainage pipes to connect the future phases. So this is the shot or a plan of the proposed concession restroom building and storage. And this would be one of the asks that Mari will speak to.
And if I can talk on that a little bit, we did not have enough funding for phase 1B of the project. We are anticipating, hopefully, we'll see how the parks bond plays out. We're looking at getting additional grants. However, because we wanted to borrow some concepts from Phase 1B, and that was this concession building. So essentially, we have this brand-new field, landscaping, parking, everything was great. We didn't want to have the old concession building with bathrooms. So the request is to take some components from Phase 1B, which is essentially a brand-new bathroom, concession building, and also allow for storage for this project. And that's it.
All right,
Questions?
thank you. Thank you, both of you gentlemen. I'm going to turn now to Commissioner Hay.
Yes. Who does the approving of the grading field? Do we approve that ourselves in terms of making sure that it has met the specs for grading the field? How does that work?
Yes, so there's a series of different penetration testing that they do on the aggregates to assure that it's ready for turf placement. So yes, we were on site while those testing operations were conducted.
Okay, and with the NFL grant funding, where does that put us now in terms of completing this? And what is the timeline for completion?
So timeline for the project was February 24th. The good thing is that we had already programmed those funds and had the turf done. Casey and his team and Mara and her team got the grant after the fact, and we were able to apply it to this current project, which subsequently lowered our cost of this project by $250,000. So it just freed up some space, and that's what kind of led the initiative to say, let's do some more upgrades while we have an opportunity, and we can minimize construction mobilization costs. So they got the grant after the fact, and we can apply it to this current project as we speak.
Will the parking be part of that complete package in February?
Yes, sir, that's correct. We already have one lift of asphalt down in the parking areas. This system is just not in service. Once we put that final lift of asphalt on, the drainage system will be put in service as well.
By the way, it's just absolutely beautiful. Those of you, and I invite all of you to get an opportunity, go out there and take a look. This field, in addition to other projects that we have, but this field in particular is going to put us on the map again, okay? It is professional. I can see colleges and even NFL teams practicing here in the city of Boynton at that field. It's just that good. So job well done, Mario, and your team. Keep up the good works, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you, and thank you, Commissioner Hay. I'm going to turn now to my colleagues if you have any questions for our staff while they're up at the podium. Commissioner Kelly, any questions or comments?
No, motion to approve?
Okay.
Second.
All right, so Deputy City Manager, I saw your hand up.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
okay. I thought you had some comments yourself.
Yes, so during our agenda review, our deputy city manager mentioned something that's very important to me, which is local businesses. Can you tell us the good news about this project?
Yes, thank you. We utilized a local vendor on this project, LTG Sports. They are located in the city of Boynton Beach, and I'm happy to say that the total cost of this project, the funds expended, will be kept within the city of Boynton Beach, and which is, I know, near and dear to your hearts. Love to hear it. So.
I just want to thank you and all your staff for focusing and trying to maintain our dollars here and help our local economy. I think that's something that everyone on this board supports.
Absolutely.
And I'm just very grateful and very happy to see that. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz, was that a second to Commissioner Kelly's motion?
I think Commissioner Hay already seconded.
Oh, you
For
seconded it?
discussion.
Yeah.
All right, I missed that. So Commissioner Kelly made the motion. The second came from Commissioner Hay. Is there any further discussion for my colleagues? All those in favor of the motion, this is to approve resolution. Oop, I lost my page.
23-139.
There we go,
23-139.
23-139. We have a motion, we have the motion second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those who oppose say no. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good
Thank
evening.
you. We're now going to move on to public hearing. The first one is proposed ordinance number 23-021. It is a second reading. I'm going to turn now to our council to read the item into the record again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 23-021, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, approving the abandonment of the 30-foot wide unimproved right-of-way established on the Palm Beach Farms Company Plat Number 8, as recorded in Plat Book 5, page 73 of the Public Records of Palm Beach County, authorizing the city manager to execute a disclaimer which shall be recorded with this ordinance in the Public Records of Palm Beach County, Florida, and providing an effective date. This ordinance before you for second reading, and a public hearing has been scheduled at this time.
All right, thank you. I'd like to hear from staff. They were getting ready to say something. So now would be the time to approach the podium. After we hear from staff, I'll entertain any comments or questions from my colleagues, after which we'll go to public comment.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Shiloh Toller, Engineer 1 with Public Works Department. And this is for the ordinance 23021 for the abandonment of 30-foot right-of-way.
Could you bring the microphone just a little bit closer?
For the 30-foot right-of-way abandonment. The applicant has a presentation, and this time it is uploaded.
Okay.
Good evening, Board. David Millage on behalf of the applicant. Before you tonight, as staff has mentioned, we have a presentation.
All right, let's pull it up.
Should be applicant presentation is the name of the file. Is mine not on? Oh. I don't know how to work that. Have you worked that before?
I'm sorry, where is the presentation? Is it on? No, I meant, is it coming up on the screen or? Okay. All right, we'll take a little moment here.
I can start walking through it, and then we can have the presentation follow up. So this is a right-of-way abandonment, 30-foot right-of-way on the south side of Boynton Beach Boulevard, on the west side of Knuth Road or Street. This came about during a site plan amendment for the adjacent property, which is approximately 12 acres. It's, I think back in July of 2022, the commission approved a project for 250 dwelling units, as well as around 9,000 square feet of retail and around a 10,000 square foot clubhouse. As a condition of approval, condition number 10, the council required the property owner to initiate the abandonment process prior to building permit issuance or submission, application. So we are here tonight seeking the approval from the commission to have this right-of-way abandoned.
Okay.
Staff recommends the approval of the abandonment. If there's any questions?
All right, let's entertain any questions. The presentation comes, If not, we'll keep moving. Commissioner, let's just go around the days quickly. Commissioner Cruz?
I've seen this presentation before. I was able to review it during my agenda review and ask all my questions, so
All right.
no further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner, Vice Mayor.
Nope, nothing's changed from the first time. Motion to approve.
Oh, not yet. We're going to go around the days. We're going to take public comments, but I appreciate the enthusiasm, Commissioner Hay.
I'm good.
All right, Commissioner Kelly.
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, with that, public comments. This is proposed ordinance number 23-021. If you would like to speak on this proposed ordinance specifically, now's the time to approach the podium. Seeing no one approaching the podium, we're going to go to those online. Manny, is there anybody with their digital hands raised online?
Mr. Mayor, we have no hands raised.
All right, with that, public comments on this item is now closed. Any follow-up comments from the applicant and or staff? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
And a second. We have a motion and a second. I'm going to turn now to our city clerk, if you could begin the roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Hay,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Turkin,
Yes.
Mayor Penserga.
Yes.
In a roll call vote, the motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Commissioner.
congratulations, thank you. We're going to move on now. We've already completed item 10A. We're going to move on to item 11A. This is new business discussion on best practices in regards to regulating tins for paraphernalia shops. This was discussed, this discussion was requested by Vice Mayor Turkin. I'm going to turn to Vice Mayor if you want to open the item, and then we'll hear from council.
Yep, I just want to start by thanking you, David, and your firm for getting such a quick turnaround on this. This is something I brought up a year ago, and so I'm very happy to see this move forward. I think all my colleagues know my opinion on this item. You know, I've spoken to many residents, not just in the city of Boynton, but investors with the BDB looking at our city to, you know, promote economic development and also neighboring towns. There's a lot of inconsistency with regulation on the tinting in the frontage. And so I think as a city, we need to have some form of consistency. And I think curb appeal is important, especially when we want to invest in our city. So, you know, I've gone through this with staff and David, and, you know, my recommendation, if, you know, my colleagues have an appetite, is to, you know, create or develop or look into some type of ordinance that would create consistency with tinting amongst all, you know, paraphernalia and smoke shops. Because you drive around the city, some do, some don't, and I think it's important to have that consistency. And, you know, I've made my comments about, you know, children, you know, mentioning, you know, seeing, you know, paraphernalia. I don't think there's a place for that, you know, until they're adults, whatever. So that's where I'm at with this. And, you know, I think it's important that, you know, we take the opportunity, again, to have some consistency and to make sure that, you know, our city's beautiful and, you know, has curb appeal. And, you know, that's my opinion. You know, some people may think otherwise. But I think if we want to really blossom, you know, I think we should definitely be mindful of feedback that we're hearing from our residents and also the business community. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to turn now to our counsel, Mr. Tolsis. You did produce an opinion letter. If you could discuss that with the commission.
Yeah, certainly, and you're very welcome, Mr. Vice Mayor. Happy to assist you and the commission in addressing this issue. I did provide you a memorandum related to some concepts and thoughts related to the ability of the city to regulate the display or the viewing of displays of tobacco paraphernalia as it's defined. So, you know, two possible avenues potentially that you could consider would be, you know, tinting of windows or requiring the placement of displays in a certain location so they're not necessarily visible from the adjacent right-of-way, whether that right-of-way is a sidewalk or a street. So, you know, that's a policy decision that you as a commission would have to make. I did point out in the memorandum that there is a requirement in your code currently, especially in the, I believe in the downtown area or off Ocean Avenue, that area where you do require a certain amount of visibility or transparency through windows. So that's something that, you know, your planning department might have to address. You know, we also need to make sure that whatever ordinance, if you choose to adopt an ordinance, is applied uniformly throughout the city. I did have a discussion with the mayor, and I know he asked a question about how many actual businesses there are, you know, in the city that this could impact. You know, I don't have that answer, but that may be a worthy avenue to explore as well with respect to implementing this, because existing businesses may have certain rights with respect to being continued to operate as they've been operating, and that's something that the city and city staff and city attorney's office would have to look at on a case-by-case basis in order to determine what that impact would be. But certainly this is something within the purview of the commission to regulate. It's just a question of, I think as the Vice Mayor said, being consistent and uniform throughout the whole city. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll begin on my left, Commissioner Kelly, and I have a few questions myself.
Thank you, Mayor. One of my concerns that I have, and I talked to staff about this at my agenda review, is that with tinting, I feel like we would end up potentially then losing that curb appeal. So I would be more in favor of maybe displays or something else other than tinting, just because I feel like tinting, I think of like Federal Highway and Ocean. If we force tinting, then we're just looking at a bunch of blank black walls. And is that really what we want to see either? So I feel like there has to be, whether it be some sort of, I don't know, shuttering or where the displays can be. I'm not, that's kind of my thought is I just worry that, by us forcing tinting, dark tinting, we're just going to be looking at black walls or black window fronts, and it's not going to be appealing. But I think that we probably can find some happy medium based on what David has written up, but those are kind of my initial thoughts.
All right, thank you. Let me just quickly jump in. I have a question for Vice Mayor. I just want to make sure I understood your intent, Vice Mayor. Is it the tinting per se, or it's about the visibility of the products, the paraphernalia?
Yeah, I think the intention is the visibility of the product. If it went down to like tinting and then a bunch of paraphernalia, I would bet some heavy dollars that the majority would be tinting, because I don't think, I as a parent, I'm different. If I was a parent and I'm walking with my 5-year-old, I don't want that 5-year-old pointing at paraphernalia and asking what that is.
Right.
And so, if it's tinting or it's not tinting, I just think the visibility is
Of
the
the
key
paraphernalia.
component there.
I'm glad you clarified that, Vice Mayor, because in general, if that's the goal, there's many ways to accomplish it. Doesn't have to be tinting, because I concur with what you said, Commissioner. You don't want a sea of black windows either. And I could imagine that, if that becomes a situation, that lack of visibility, much in the same way that our state laws don't allow too much tinting on cars, because you need that visibility for safety reasons. But there are other solutions besides, however it's accomplished, as long as it's accomplished, basically is what I'm hearing Vice Mayor
Yeah,
say.
definitely. And again, back to the consistency part, I was doing a little drive yesterday looking at, and there is a lot of these businesses, and some are tinted and they're off, a main road. I don't want to specify any individual business. And so, I think the uniformity is key. And so if there's, 60% businesses that do have tinting, and staff comes up with something, do we require them to remove that tinting and then follow another ordinance? I think this is like a conversation, or maybe a project staff would need to come back with a couple options.
But in those cases, Vice Mayor, I think those are like, they voluntarily chose to put, I
Right,
don't know the
correct,
situation. I'm
correct.
gonna have to ask staff.
Right.
Okay. Let's hear from all of us. Commissioner Hay, if you have any questions or comments about this.
Yeah, I do have a few comments about it. I do have a concern that, these businesses were established to sell their product, and what is offensive in terms of paraphernalia is subjective. I would not, my simple solution as I see it now, and of course I'd like to hear what staff has to say and what they bring back, would be to just put it out of sight. I don't want those businesses that are already in existence now having to come back and put up tent, and like Commissioner Keller was just saying, and about the just a row of mirrors. I don't want that either. So I'm just wondering, do we really have a problem here in our city? Or are we creating one? Out of the 5 or 6 big cities that Attorney Tulsa's looked at, like West Palm and Boca and all, Wellington and all these, they don't have such an ordinance, and they are much larger than we are. So I'm wondering, what's the driver here? If it's, as I see it right now, till staff bring back some options, is to just put those pieces out of sight. I certainly don't want, as the Vice Mayor said, some kid sends something that's offensive. Certainly I don't want that, but by the same token, I don't want to impose upon those businesses that probably have to be grandfathered in, because when they established their business, the intent was not to have a tenant window that would hide their products, which may not be offensive. So where I am right now, I will wait until the staff bring back the options on what we could probably do. But as I sit now, I'm against tinning, and I am for taking those paraphernalia pieces and put them out of sight. So that's where I am now.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hay. Vice Mayor, I see
Yeah,
your
I just
hand is
want to
up.
respond, so thanks, Mayor. So a lot of times we sit here and we hear from our constituency, right? And we each represent groups of people, roughly anywhere from 18 to 20,000 per district, the mayors at large. This is something that my constituency has been very vocal about. And when my colleagues have something that their constituency is talking to them about, I'm going to support that more than not, even if I may not agree with it, because good government is delivering to the people. And so it's not about creating a problem, it's about solving problems. And if my residents have a problem, I'm going to do my best to solve it. I'm going to do my best to serve those people. And so sometimes we need to think about, not just our own opinions, but we need to think about what the opinion of the people are and what is consistent. I mean, I've had my phone blown up all day today of people asking, do we need to come out, how can we get this done, right? And these people entrust me to make compelling arguments and being persuasive and getting this done. And so, with all due respect, this isn't about, again, creating problems. This is about solving problems, that my constituency brings up, that I know many of my colleagues here do the same thing, and I don't have to give examples. I'm not going to do that. But, I just want to get that out there that, there's a lot of them in my district. They might not be in other districts, right? And so how can I make a decision in someone else's district when I don't have the same problem, right? I'm not hearing the same thing. So I think it's important for us to be mindful of each other's districts, especially when we're making decisions with, any personal matters aside. Thanks, Mayor.
Mayor?
I'd like to give Commissioner Cruz the opportunity. She hasn't gone yet, then afterwards we'll come back to you. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to say that I completely agree, and looking at this regulation, I'm looking at the town of Lauderdale by the Sea, and I see that it's already regulated. They regulate the display of tobacco paraphernalia by requiring that the tobacco paraphernalia inventory be concealed from the view of the public outside of this premises. I would support some sort of regulation within that. I do understand, Vice Mayor Turkin, your concern. Like, we all have them, we all have different constituents. We have, different areas within the city that we represent. And if something is important to the constituents within the city, whether it's, our district or not, I think that we should definitely consider that and, consider what's important to everyone in the city. And as we make decisions, we're voting for the entirety of the city. So I do want to support this, and I do want to support some sort of regulation to make sure that we don't have things that, we might not want kids to see. I do want to support this going forward, and I do agree, sometimes something might be important to one district and maybe not as a prevalent of a problem in another one, and I definitely do want to support that. So, City Attorney, I think one of the issues is that as we create regulations, they would be effective going forward. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I think that we should definitely get to working on this. I understand the purpose is to make sure that we don't have things that are seen that, might not be appropriate for children. We want to be a family-friendly community as we have been, and we want to continue to be a family-friendly city. So I do support, creating some sort of regulation. Obviously, we do know that there's some sort of a business new statute that was passed, I think, in Tallahassee this year. So we definitely want to go around that, but we do want to make sure that we do create something that can relieve the stress and the concerns of the constituents.
Yeah, one second, several people are in line. Council, do you want to quickly respond to Commissioner Cruz? And then I'm going to turn to Commissioner Hay, who's been patiently waiting.
Excuse me, just briefly, yeah, there are two new statutes, one relating to business impact estimate, which is a form that would need to be completed that would educate or contain information related to potential business impact on some ordinance. Whether or not the ordinance that you ultimately come up with would be subject to having that statement provided, I'm uncertain at this time. The other statute relates to ordinances that may be considered to be arbitrary and unreasonable, that there is a certain right to individuals who challenge the ordinances, if they're successful, to get damages and attorney's fees and costs. So, but in all likelihood, that ordinance will be before you with your new city attorney. So I'm hesitant to, make too many guesstimates as far as what you're going to do, but I'll continue to work with staff in the interim and then transition to Ms. Lamb, depending upon what your direction is tonight.
All right, thank you.
But even if we have Ms. Lamb, we're still going to continue to work with the firm. So
Yes.
we're still going to
Absolutely.
continue to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with you.
Don't transition over.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hay, I'll come back to
Sorry.
you. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Hay, you've been patiently waiting.
Yes, for the record, and just to be clear, when Vice Mayor, you state about your constituents have talked to you, I just want to let you know that those are also my constituents, because I'm a commissioner not just for District 2, but for the city of Boynton. My concern is that we approach this in the right way with the right options so that it will benefit all people in the city. I'm with you in terms that it needs to be addressed. How it needs to be addressed is the question that I have. That's why I want to look at what staff bring back as far as options on how we can better resolve this issue, and then we move forward from there. So I don't want this commission I won't speak for the commission, I'll speak for myself. Don't categorize me as being just District 2. I'm for the entire city of Boynton Beach.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor, then Commissioner Cruz.
I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Hay, but I didn't say your name one time when I spoke prior. So, thanks. And again, you have to, I'll just say this. I don't know the issues as well as I do in my district and other districts. So I trust in my colleagues to represent them, and that's how I would make decisions, because I'm not communicating with people in District 4 or District 1, not all the time, sometimes, I'll talk to anyone from any district. But, I think that it's safe to say that each representative has a better pulse on what goes on and what the concerns are in their district, right? Especially if you're answering phone calls, emails, I take pride in how hard I work, and, I'm not going to budge on this. I want to deliver. And the only other comment I want to say is, this is going to be a complicated process, I think. And I would like staff, whether it's our new in-house attorney working with our planning and zoning, or David, you and your firm, to look at if there is potential retroactive for any regulation moving forward. I know we had discussed that. That would be in the realm of not setting us up for that new statute that Commissioner Cruz had brought up. So those are my comments. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Cruz, then I'll make my comments. Commissioner Cruz.
No, not much. Just, again, we've talked about, we know in Tallahassee, a lot of things happened this year, and it was about no undue burden on businesses. So we obviously want to make sure that we're legally protected, and at the same time, if a town or other municipality has implemented a similar policy that has a similar effect of what we're trying to accomplish here, if they were safe, I think that it could potentially mean that we could do something similar to that, that could have a similar effect and, you know, accomplish the same goal. So I'm really looking at the town of Lauderdale by the Sea. They do have a regulation again that regulates the display of tobacco paraphernalia, and it requires that the inventory be concealed from view of the public outside of its premises. I think that because it's already been done in another municipality within the state of Florida, and they've been okay doing it, I think that that's something that maybe we could potentially take and mirror to accomplish the same purpose within our city. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. In order to move this discussion forward, I think we have consensus here on enacting some sort of policy change. The question really is how, and that is not something that we can hash out today. That's not necessary. I've heard several of us say, let's just have staff, direct staff to come back to us with a variety of options. As long as the goal is met, the goal is met, okay? Is that good with everybody? Any objections to that? So, all right, seeing no objections, council.
Yeah, so with that direction, we'll work with your planning staff, you know, come up with some different options. We'll continue to research other municipalities that may have done something similar and look at the current statutes and we'll bring things back to you.
All right, well, thank you so much. All right, with that, I believe that concludes all of the agenda items for tonight. Let's conclude with closing comments. If there's any closing comments, Commissioner Cruz will go down the dais.
No, just thank you, everybody. You guys are doing a great job. And I'm really happy that it's a short meeting, so staff gets to go home to their families.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I just wanted to say, I forgot to earlier, I wanted to thank, you know, Public Works and also Kevin Ramsey. Big shout out to Kevin Ramsey for the dog park. It is absolutely awesome. And there's the ribbon cutting is November 4th. And so I know that'll be special, but I went and checked it out and it's beautiful and it's just kudos, great job, great execution and super under budget. So always happy to see that. Thank you.
Excellent. Commissioner Hay.
I guess the only comment I have is our new attorney still present?
Oh, she left already.
I think it would be a good idea probably just kind of hang around, see what goes on. Coming on board at the end of this month would be, you know, that transition period to kind of get a feel how we do business. Okay, so that's.
It's not effective immediately, so
I know.
There's
Hey,
still a
look,
window.
Transition. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hay. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Kelly.
She has been here for our really long ones. So she was here for 2 really long meetings. So glad we were able to move it up for her today, but yeah. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much, everybody, and thank you to staff. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Hay, you dancing?